Welcome back to a brand new No BS crypto news video where I bring you all the crypto news in the most no BS way possible every single day. Now, you've all read the title. You know we do have some really big topics to touch on for Ethereum today. We've got bullish predictions coming through here from some very big people in the space. We also have some negative opinions based on this update as well. You are going to want to listen to what those are. And we also have some Bitcoin and smaller altcoin news. Let's take things off where we typically do and have a look at the general market. Bitcoin is up 2% today at $42,800. This is interesting because what felt like 5 hours ago, Bitcoin was at $41,700. So it's gained $1,000 today basically, which is good to see. Most of the market is green right now with a few outliers like, of course, ICP. Now, ICP is up almost 30% in the last day. Interestingly, because ICP took a very big breather like the last 7 days, right? Had a massive tear, had a bit of time to relax, and now possibly we could be seeing more upwards movement. Now, I am most definitely one of the bigger bulls on ICP. I think a lot of people got very scared because the price chart on ICP looks very daunting. But again, you should never look at a project's price chart as an indication of what it can do in the future. A lot of newbies get very much mistaken and they've paid the price. I know a lot of you got into ICP at the low of $2.90 to $3. So congratulations if you have. You'd be substantially up right now. Of course, fortune favors the brave. Teller, another Oracle play here, is up as well. Sai is up 10% today, Injective and Mina. I'm up about 6x on my bags on Mina. I hope you guys are up as well. XDC is finally starting to move, almost at 6 cents, and Quant as well, making some tiny gains. Now, the losers today, we have Bitcoin SV down about 11%. These guys are still substantially up from what they were about a week ago at about $50. So they're almost 2x at the height of things. Taking a slight retracement back, we'll see where things go. This might be the bull run. Bitcoin SV actually does something pretty interesting. I want to firstly say, look guys, if you do enjoy crypto news and you want to be more up to date, have your finger on the pulse a lot more than what you currently do on YouTube, Twitter is the place, and following me is definitely the thing to do. I post things on there regarding altcoins, also updates as well. Literally, you will find things here even days to weeks before I actually post a YouTube video. And this doesn't go for me. This goes for every other YouTuber out there. It's harder to make a video, easier to make a Twitter post, okay? So if you're on Twitter, you're definitely going to have an edge over people that aren't. The first bit of news today, very briefly speaking, comes from Bitcoin and its ETFs. James Seffert, someone who has been very keen on following the updates with the Bitcoin ETFs, has retweeted something from Nate, who has mentioned that the SEC might notify issuers as soon as Tuesday or Wednesday that they have been cleared to launch their own ETFs. This is big news. Now, that's about 2 to 3 days away from when I'm making this video. By the way, Happy New Year to everyone. If these are approved, or at least approved to be approved in the next, week or 10 days, which is January the 10th, the likely approval date in this case, we might have a way in which we can find this out, whether they can officially, legally announce that, or whether we have, a whistleblower, for example, say something earlier, not too sure. I, like James says down here, am still looking between the 8th and the 10th for an actual yes or no on a bunch of these ETFs. Now, not all will be approved. We'll have some, likely 4 to 5 from what I'm seeing so far, depending on how many frequent meetings individual issuers have had with the SEC, but it is looking good. Even James said a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said that this seems a tad early, but after yesterday, it's looking like we are on the home stretch. So it's important you stay up to date because this might be a catalyst for price going up or price going down. Now, before I continue with the news, I wanted to very briefly just say, this kind of touches on an important point I wanted to mention. I've seen over the last couple of weeks here on my and other people's YouTube videos, a lot of the comments are from people who are likely new to the space, asking other people in the comment section, hey, what do you think I should do? Hey, should I sell this or buy this? Or hey, Kyron mentioned this. Is it true? Is it not true? So on and so forth. And then they're relying on the comments or responses from other people to make a judgment, make that call in terms of what they do, which is very bad. You should never, ever take a random person's opinion, let alone someone who can actually physically see, like myself. A commenter, you don't know who the hell they are. They could be anyone with a pseudonym name. You don't even know if they're a real person, for example. And you're taking their opinions and then making a direct call off that. Now, this won't be the last time I address this because it's going to burn a lot of people. But if you are someone taking specifically what a commenter says in response to what you say, hey, should I buy ICP or should I buy Render? Can someone help me right now? You are doomed to fail. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people are right now in that position. You shouldn't even take what a YouTuber says. There are a lot of YouTubers that do not know what they talk about. I, first and foremost, am a crypto researcher. I am a YouTuber second. So I research in the space. Hence why I can confidently, hand on my heart, say to you all, you should never take even what a YouTuber says. Nothing that I say, nothing what someone else says on board as advice. I know a lot of people absolutely lie through their teeth and do not know what they're talking about. Crypto fundamentally on YouTube is just presenting. It's just entertainment factor. So please keep it in mind. And if you ever see someone in any of my comment sections or anyone else's asking for advice, just kindly tell them to not do that and do their own research. It's a very common term in crypto, but it most definitely is warranted. Now, our second news today comes from Indonesia seizing 1,314 Bitcoin mining rigs in a crackdown on power theft. They're calling it power theft, right? Because Indonesia currently has a ban on Bitcoin mining because their power grid is very inefficient. And of course, as we know, Bitcoin miners are very energy consuming. So it's not a recipe for success. Hence, they cracked down on around about 26 people, as you can see here. Again, removing around 1,300 miners, which, by the way, an average miner these days goes from $5,000 to $25,000. So these aren't cheap. It's a lot of money that got banned over here. But of course, you know, if you are doing something illegal, you got to kind of face the consequences when they come knocking on your door. Now, here's the big news, right? Ethereum, what is happening in this case? Let me just reiterate before we get into it. We're going to have a prediction from an influencer here. We're going to go over the updates in particular. And at the end, I'm going to go over a contrarian view on all this, an opposing view, basically. So how Vitalik Buterin's new roadmap may push Ethereum to new all-time highs. So Ethereum price is forecasted to reach $5,300. This comes from Raoul Pal, who also predicts Ethereum's price, again, could hit new all-time highs, specifically in the first half of 2024. The man's very bullish on Ethereum, apparently. Vitalik Buterin also, again, updated his roadmap, which is pretty much the basis on why Raoul Pal is so bullish in this case. For those who don't know, Raoul Pal has 1 million followers, and he's pretty big into crypto, but he's pretty big on just markets in general, right? He's the founder and CEO of Global Macro Investor, but more specifically, Real Vision. So Real Vision's pretty prominent in the space. These guys do quite a bit for crypto and crypto knowledge in general. Now, according to Raoul, he said Ethereum may have a really good first half of 2024. The target from using the liquidity indicator would be about $5,300. We should be coming to all-time highs in Ethereum in the first half of 2024. So let's see how that plays out. This is that indicator he was talking about. I've never used this before in my life. Apparently, from the article, it says it's a pretty accurate indicator, but I'm not going to take something like this as the be-all and end-all. Matter of fact, everything with a grain of salt. So part of the reason Raoul's so bullish on Ethereum as well is because of this update. Ethereum's founder, Vitalik, has changed yet again for the 1000th time their roadmap. So one of the key updates includes the implementation of what's called single slot finality, or SSF for short. SSF is expected to resolve many of Ethereum's current flaws in the proof of stake design, leading to faster and more secure transactions. Don't know about you guys, but I'm so sick of the fees. Anywhere between $10, which in of itself is ridiculous, right up to $50 and $100 I've had to pay recently for these damn fees. And we are like 12 months out from the actual cycle, really bringing in a lot more demand. We're at the very early phases. 2019 is comparatively to where we are right now. We have a lot to go, and back in 2021, when the bull run was last heating up, transactions were like $1,000. So this is not realistic. Hence, the roadmap has been updated. So one of these such updates is called Surge, improving the scalability and efficiency for Ethereum, looking at aiming to get 100,000 transactions per second and beyond for the roll-up specifically, not for the mainnet, not for what Ethereum actually is, for the layer 2s. I don't know if you guys know, but again, Ethereum moved away from scaling its main network, its blockchain itself. They're now focusing on being a highly secure network itself, the foundation for the layer 2s, which will be where the scalability comes into fruition. We also see another update named Scourge, which is combating maximum extractable value, or what's called MEV, also known as minor extractable value, and general stake pool issues, maintaining the integrity and decentralization of the network. Now, MEV is a very big problem in crypto, and specifically blockchains, because it opens up a whole big can of worms when it comes to people trying to take advantage of the network. In this case, to keep it very simple for you all, MEV is when miners, or at least validators in this case, can come in and reorganize what transactions are added in at what time. They can make a transaction themselves and put it to the top of the queue to do things like fix their arbitrage in their favor, or to front run there's a whole big lot of things that happen because they can basically pick which transaction they want to process first. And again, that can just simply be, hey, this guy wants to pay 10x more or 5x more than all the other transactions. I'm going to process his transactions first, even though all these other people were in line. Hence, you can get things, again, like front running. Now, we also had Raul Paul over here saying something about the Ethereum ETFs that are supposedly supposed to be approved this year as well, but they have been pushed back until May. The Bitcoin ETFs are, of course, taking precedence right now. Now, there is a few different Ethereum ETFs being proposed, future ETFs, a few spot ETFs as well, but the SEC has made it apparent they're not thinking about it right now. They are working on Bitcoin. So I do think, and based on what Raul says as well, a lot of the demand will come through to Bitcoin, bring the general, I guess, newbies or larger investors into the realm of crypto. And then once this sort of hype drags down, the waterfall effect, money will flow into Ethereum. And when that happens, we'll likely have some news relating to the Ethereum ETFs. And if that's positive, we'll of course have institutional money come into Ethereum. Now, this chart from Glassnode represents the difference in market dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum in blue. And we can see way back, I guess, late last year, the difference was only 0.07%. And we have since 7x'd the difference. So it's 7x worse. So in this case, the difference is 0.017% in favor, of course, of Bitcoin. I do believe that if Raul's vision comes true and we do have a price of $5,300, we'll see the pair between Ethereum and Bitcoin, like we're looking at right here, probably go up to 0.1. Now, we haven't been at this difference since 2017, okay? So that basically means that if Bitcoin's price was $50,000 and Ethereum's was $5,000, the ratio would be 1 Ethereum is 0.1 Bitcoin, hence the number over here. We currently are at 0.05, so we are at half of that right now. So that's pretty impressive. If it can double, that of course would mean the dominance would grow as well. So that's some things to look out for, I think would definitely come true if his predictions come to fruition. So the contrarian approach in this case comes from a very important figure in, I believe, in the space, Justin Bonds. Justin has typically very opposing views to most people in crypto. However, it is good to take on both sides of the fence in anything in life. Don't be that guy that's like, hey, I'm just going to think like this and never, take the other side into consideration. Try to be on the fence. That way you make a better decision and judgment. So Justin has been pretty critical of this update. He said that the roadmap release proves that Ethereum will never scale. There is, in fact, zero layer 1 scaling on the roadmap, which is true. Again, they're looking to scale the layer 2s, not Ethereum itself. Everything is focused on layer 2s instead of empowering people to use the blockchain directly. ETH is pushing users to custodian layer 2s that can censor. Because layer 2s, fundamentally speaking, I don't know if you know this, everything basically passes through one or a few nodes. So Arbitrum and Optimism, for example, run one node. So everything you do on that network can effectively be changed and swapped if the team agreed to tinker that particular node. So again, very centralized, hence why he says it is extremely censorship non-resistant. As ETH's layer 2 scaling roadmap ruins user experience, breaks up composability. Composability, for those who don't know, is basically how well the dApps can connect and interact with one another, and also fragment the liquidity. So he also says 95% of all layer 2 users can have their wallets drained by the admin keys right now. And even if that number dropped down to 50%, is that really what we're aiming for in crypto? A truly decentralized network? And the answer is no. Again, that comes back to my point before. Like Justin alluded to, it all goes through basically one or very select small nodes. So it's kind of interesting because, again, these layer 2s leverage Ethereum for security, and that makes sense for finality's sake. But again, still, you have all these transactions happening on one node. So while the roadmap is fixing things ideally, like, some of the gas problems and the MEV issues, yes, it is, but it's still fundamentally not what crypto needs. Our last story today comes from DeFi, more specifically TVL in DeFi. We are currently at $52 billion in total value locked, which is up from about 38 or so billion back when we had the FTX crash in November of 2022, a 36% increase. Quite impressive, and we've seen some new protocols shine up here. I want to point out, we can see the very top over here, Manta Network. Manta Network right now has about $197 million in total value locked. And that is in part because they do have their airdrop happening soon. Now, I want to touch on the airdrop briefly here. I made a video on this I will link it down below on how to actually participate, but we only have 1 day left. The 1st of January is likely to be the day in which this closes off. It is a guaranteed airdrop, and to participate, all you have to do is basically sign over your Twitter account and just simply deposit some ETH or USDC. That's it. Okay, so again, I go into it on a airdrop video I posted recently. I wanted to point it out for all those that missed that and wanted to get in on the action because it is guaranteed, it will happen, and it'll happen likely in the first few months of 2024. So again, you have 1 more day to participate in this. With that all being said, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video the whole way through. And if you have, I would really appreciate you dropping a like on the video to say a big thank you. And with that said, I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.